Here at TFL, we make you a promise. You saw it here first, and it could not be more true with this world introduction of the all-new 2023 Chevy Colorado ZR2. In this video, guys, I'm gonna show you all the way around the truck, inside, outside, the bed, the engine, the suspension underneath. This is a hands-on first look at the all-new Colorado. So let's get going. This is a very special opportunity because I'm here at the GM Proving Grounds in Milford, and I'm showing you the brand new Desert Boss. What is a Desert Boss? Well, that's actually the top dog off-road brand new Colorado truck that you will be able to buy when it goes on sale in the first half of 2023. Basically, a ZR2 with a few accessories thrown on top of it. So let's take a wide view of it. So what GM did, what Chevrolet did, is they actually increased the wheelbase of the new Colorado for all of the trim levels, not just the ZR2 Desert Boss. They increased it by about 3.1 inches. So it's now just over 131 inches of wheelbase. And it's a crew cab with a 5'2" bed. And this is the only configuration that's going to be available currently, or at least initially, for the all-new mid-size truck from Chevrolet. And then I have to show you under the hood. So come over. Of course, us truck guys and gals, we love powertrains. Let's take a look under the hood. All new 2023 Colorados will have basically the same engine, but 3 different power levels. Because this is a ZR2 Desert Boss, of course, it has the highest output. They call it high output, which makes sense. 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, and the ZR2 gets it. Behind this engine is an 8-speed automatic transmission. And there's actually several different versions of this 8-speed, because if you get a base Colorado, that's going to have an 8L45 version of the transmission, still 8 speeds. This is an 8L80. So just different horsepower and torque ratings for each transmission. And this is the second generation of the 8-speed underneath this truck. There's going to be 2 other power levels. The base truck will start with a standard output 2.7, and then there's going to be also a Turbo Plus version that's going to be available. But I'm focusing on this ZR2 top dog, and that horsepower and torque rating is actually the same as in the Silverado 1500 half-ton trucks, and the torque is down low. A maximum torque comes in at 3,000 RPM, and horsepower max comes in at about 5,600 RPM. So of course, well, I don't get to drive this one. This is a pre-production truck once again, but that low-end torque will be very important, especially for off-road driving. All right, next, let's look at the styling of this new Colorado. What you see right here is the flow tie. Also was introduced on the Silverado ZR2 for 2022. Basically, the idea is to get a little bit more air flowing through the grille. This also showcases the Safari bar and this front bumper addition for the Desert Boss. You also get fog lamps, and it's winch ready. So it's ready to accept a winch. So it could be, I mean, this is really, really cool, really interesting, because currently you can put a winch as an accessory on the Jeep Gladiator, and now this is pretty easy also on the new ZR2 Desert Boss. Let me know in the comments below what you think about style. It has these horizontal headlights and, you know, this kind of style element here. But I think the most important part of this is the approach angle. You can see other ZR2s before it had really great approach angles, and this is even better, about 38 degrees of approach, which is not the super class leading number, but it's incredibly good. So you can roll over obstacles with your 33-inch tall tire here on the ZR2, which is new for this new generation. They're upsizing their tires. They're also upsizing their ground clearance and upsizing capability. You can see this beadlock capable wheel here, which is a 17. The tire is a 285/70 R17. This is the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT. This tire is getting very popular across the industry for off-road vehicles, and of course each tire is tuned precisely for each vehicle as far as their weight, curb weights, capability, and the rest. Now let's go inside. I want to show you a quick preview, but for the most part, for the main part right now, I want to start the truck up and turn the wheels so I can show you a little bit more of the suspension, because that's very important on the ZR2. So actually come around to the passenger side and I'll show you just the startup. Also, the interior is all new, as you can tell, and of course special stitching on the seats, on the center console for the ZR2 Desert Boss, special steering wheel for this higher trim model truck, and then of course overall new design. Let me start up. There is no more ignition key that you have to plug in, and of course you have fully digital cluster and infotainment screen in the center. But right now what I really want to do is I want to just turn the tires so you can see the suspension, the shocks, so we can look at the front and the back, because it's now different, a bit different. And then we'll go back in here. I'll show you drive modes and some of the other technologies that's involved in here. All right, I got the wheels turned, so hopefully we have a better view of the front suspension. Yep, here it is. Of course, independent front, like it was before. But like I said, the wheelbase is increased on the new generation. So the front axle line is actually pushed forward a little bit. That's what enables that great approach angle I talked about. And also for the ZR2 and the Trail Boss models, the Trail Boss is now its own grade and trim level on the Colorado. They widened the track, and they're doing it in, especially here for the ZR2, with these beefy A-arms and suspension. Of course, Multimatic DSSV spool valve shocks, coilover system here with the spring is here. The track width is increased by about 2 inches, and then you're getting a little bit extra width with the offset on the wheel itself. And then something else has changed in the back for the suspension. So for the new generation of the truck, take a look at where the shock is. It's now tucked in way over by the rear tires. They kept the leaf spring. You can see that here. Of course, for the ZR2, you also get additional suspension lift and about 10.7 inches of total ground clearance. Solid rear axle, but the shocks used to be somewhere in here before. And they were kind of in the way of some of the off-road obstacles. So now they changed it. They pushed them all the way out. And I think that's going to be beneficial, not just for off-roading, but I imagine, this is my opinion, also for some handling, towing trailers and payload handling, because you basically have those shocks more outboard. Speaking of towing, so the base Colorado with a base rating on the turbocharged engine can tow up to about 3,500 pounds. Then you can upgrade that work truck to tow up to 7,700 pounds. This off-road truck, the ZR2, is rated to tow 6,000 pounds, which is actually 1,000 pounds more than the previous generation ZR2. So I'm really happy to see that. A little bit more towing. You guys know I love bringing stuff with me, different trailers, different toys. So that's really good. Now, payload. Let's take a look at the bed. Damped tailgate, nice. They have a nice new feature here. I'm standing in kind of a ditch, so that's why the tailgate is so tall. This truck is tall, but it's not super mega tall. So the tailgate, they redesigned a bit. You have your kind of measuring stick, about 4 feet here on the tailgate. And then you have the little locks. So you open this one, you open this one, and now you have this hidden cubby, which I think is pretty cool. So as you can tell, it's pretty deep, almost several inches deep. It's about 45 inches wide, and you could put, your, emergency cables, ropes, other little tidbits, and you have partitions here as well. So you can kind of subdivide it, and maybe also a way to secure some of the stuff so it doesn't fly around in here. So I think this is pretty cool, using some of the space in the tailgate for something useful. And now also what they introduced is this way of controlling the rear cable. You could put this into this little slot. Do it on this side as well. Come over here. And now, so you got to kind of do it from the top. Now the tailgate is positioned at an angle, a little bit higher. And this, I mean, you've also seen this on some other vehicles like the Jeep Gladiator. But now this top of the tailgate is actually in line with the wheel wells. So you can put 4x8 pieces of plywood or other material in here. This bed, like I said, from the bulkhead over there to here is about 5 foot 2 inches. So you're adding another, what, 19 or 20 inches here, approximately. So then your material might be sticking out this way. But I think it's a good compromise. The longer bed option is not going to be available. At least they haven't talked about it. So I hope they bring it back sometime in the future. The other thing that the Colorado is really good at, and actually all GM pickup trucks now, they're really good at offering tie-down options. So the new Colorado is no exception. You've got 2 in each corner, so basically 8 tie-downs. You can reconfigure them a little bit. If you can see, let me show you. If you can see these openings, these plugs, you can add additional tie-downs into them, and also up in the front of the bed as well. So this is really great for tying down like motorcycles, mountain bikes, other items. And here you have a 120 volt, 400 watt outlet right here. And if you're wondering about lights, you basically have your cab light on top. And it's also, you can turn it off and on as you wish, but there's no other lights kind of inside the bed here. And if you're wondering about payloads, it's actually a little bit better than what it was. For the ZR2, the payload rating is around 1,150 pounds. And for the work truck Colorado WT, the payload is just over 1,600 pounds. So those numbers are a little bit better than what the Colorado used to have, and they're highly competitive in the segment because off-road trucks like this with a lot of accessories and gear often have about 1,000 pounds of payload. So it's doing pretty well. This is an accessory, the sports bar, really beefy. You have a LED bar on top. This is part also of the Desert Boss package. So it's up to you whether you want to add this or subtract it and do different configurations of this truck. By the way, the bolt pattern on the Colorado truck, the 6-bolt pattern, is now the same as the Silverado truck. So you can interchange wheels. I think that's pretty interesting and pretty cool. And by the way, this Silverado ZR2 also has a 33. So about the same size tire as this. I find that pretty interesting. You're probably wondering about the rear seat room. So most of the measurements are almost identical to where the Colorado was before. I'm just over 6'2", getting close to 6'3", and I'm sitting kind of behind myself now. So my knees are almost touching. I think this is what they've done before. Technically, the legroom is about almost half an inch less than the previous generation Colorado. Not sure exactly why that is, but the seat is not bolt upright. It actually has an angle in it, so I actually feel relatively comfortable, and I feel like I'm looking over the front row of seats, almost like stadium seating. I can see over the headrest. There's a cutout in the ceiling. It does have a sunroof, so the sunroof is now available, but because of this cutout, my head is barely touching. I mean, it's pretty, actually a lot of clearance here. I'm pretty surprised. And then I have my armrest with cup holders. I have pretty comfortable, actually soft headrests, and I have vents. Take a look. So I have rear vents, USB-C, USB capability. Of course, I have pockets on this highest of trims. All right, now if you can get over in front, I'll show you some more of the tech. All right, let's jump back inside. I cannot show you everything because this is a pre-production truck. I'm gonna start it up one more time. I'm gonna try to make it a little bit more quiet in here. The fan speed. So the climate control system has redundant buttons. I really love that, including the heated seats. That's pretty cool. You have your temperature controls for the driver and passenger. This screen, although it looks like a Silverado screen, it's actually a little bit smaller. So it's not like they took a Silverado brand new generation dash, lopped off the sides of it and just inserted it here. Everything has been a little bit massaged and shrunk a little bit, which I think, I mean, it still has, of course, family resemblance, but also it just looks good in my opinion. You have somewhat softer materials here, especially with the new ZR2 stitching. It tells you what you're driving right there. And these vents remind me of the Camaro and the Chevy Blazer. And there's vents in the middle here as well. So you can control these. And of course, the side ones as well. Here on the bottom, so 4 windows down. GM has had this for a while. Your aux media, lane centering, your hazards, start stop, and front and rear lockers. Of course, this is a signature of the ZR2. It has been since the previous generation. I'm really happy that they kept it here for the next generation. Basically, you can enable your rear locker or both front and rear lockers. So that's very cool. Then, this has been a bit of a controversy because they moved the transmission lever a little bit closer to the passenger. But just being here in the truck, personally, just sitting here, this feels really natural. Like I can quickly change from the steering wheel down to the transmission shifter without bothering the passenger at all. I don't feel like I'm bothering this next person next to me. And then, of course, shift the 8-speed. So I think that's pretty good design. Also opens this up for your 2 high, 4 high, 4 low, and 4 auto. Sorry, I'm getting smudged. Also, this is your mode select. I'll show you that on the screen just in a second. You also have your electric parking brake and lots of cup holders. You have 2 here. Sorry, and you have 2 here. So 4 in the center. And then additionally in the door cards. It's a little bit hard for you to see, but the door card also has a cup holder. So I think that's pretty cool. You also have your wireless charging pad on this side. Now, look at the screen. I don't know if you could see it. Let me kind of make it a little bit better. But there's 5 drive modes. There's normal, everyday. You have Baja for high speed, and I'm not gonna shift all of them. Just want to show you some of the graphics. Off-road, where it kind of disables some of the traction control systems. Tow haul, obviously for towing and hauling payloads. Terrain is kind of a one-pedal driving and slow speed off-roading as well. So you have many different modes. I've noticed GM is not doing a special eco mode. If you're driving every day, you just stay in normal. I kind of would have preferred an eco mode. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether that's something that is on your mind. And there's one more piece of innovation that the Colorado is bringing to the mid-size truck segment. Let me show you. You have to actually get all the way down. And then kind of underneath where the driver and passenger sit in the front, there is a camera underneath the chassis pointing forward. And another one pointing backwards. So first, this was available on the GMC Hummer EV pickup truck. And now Chevrolet is also adding it to the Colorado ZR2. I think that's pretty cool. You can see some of the obstacles on the inside, as you're driving over them. And it gives you another perspective of what's going on. Of course, you also have the 360 views as well. I want to show you a little bit of the steering wheel. Of course, you have your call out for voice activated features. Also, of course, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay is here. Google Assistant. This is basically a Google-based infotainment system, you have your controls here and your cruise control settings here on the left of the steering wheel. So that's for that. If you have noticed, so pay close attention here. Here's your wiper control stalk and brights. But there's not a unique special button for headlights. The headlights button is actually, the headlights are controlled within the system here. And also there's of course trailering apps that will walk you through some of the items there. And then lights. And I don't know if you could see that on this screen, but you can kind of see, you can control your fog lights, your headlights, options, auto high beams. You can select all those things. Here are the off-road pages. I cannot show every feature. Once again, this is a pre-production, but a couple of very cool parts to this. First of all, compass. Okay, that's all right. You also, your current drive mode is shown here, so it's kind of repetitive. But I like that. I like having your drive mode here. You also have latitude, longitude that would be displayed here, and also elevation. So if you're off-road and you're actually without reception and you need to know where you are, those are some tools you can have. I love the elevation because in Colorado we always off-road at different elevations, and sometimes I need to know exactly where I am. So I love that they're adding that to the system. So you got your tach, you got your speedometer. You can also put other information like tire pressures here. So when you're airing down, you see all the information in one place, your fuel, your coolant, temp. So basically standard items, but I really like the redundancy that it offers, that you can monitor different information in different screens, so you can choose which one you like the best. Colorado didn't offer a sunroof before, and now it does. It is not a panoramic kind, but I don't think it needs a panoramic one. I think if you like a sunroof, this would be just fine, because you also want space for your rear passengers since you're buying a 4-door pickup truck. So I think this is kind of a good compromise between having, visibility, light, and also space on the inside. A lot of style inside and out. You can see this by this vent on the driver's side. You can open it, close it, adjust it. But I wanted to show you this. This is the trailer brake controller. It's here by my left knee, right by the door. I'm really happy that they added it, even in the off-road version of the truck. But it's a little bit lowish. I think I would rather have it rather than not have it and buy an aftermarket one. But the position of it maybe could have been a little bit more accessible. Still, it's really great to control your brakes and set up your gain right here. So there you have it. Here's your comprehensive, hands-on, personal look at the all-new ZR2 Desert Boss. You're probably wondering about a few other things like price, when it's going to be available. Well, the price is not announced yet. They're going to start building the all-new Colorado starting next year in 2023. They say the first half of the year. So you'll be able to, actually, I don't know, they haven't said when the order books are opening, but they'll probably open this year, and then the production will start next year, and you'll be able to get your hands on one in just a few months. So let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, come back to alltfl.com for everything automotive, one-stop shop for all the news right there.